so many things to do all the time, and I think we just found that we were living a life that we wanted to change, and eventually I think we saw that the possibility of doing RV life could be what we wanted, to get us out into nature more and to keep traveling more. Yeah.
Question 2. What is it like traveling with 4 kitties, aka 4 cats?
Traveling with 4 kitties, man. That is fun. It always keeps it fun. But I wouldn't change it for the world. I love having them with us. You got to clean up after them multiple times a day, usually. But I think cats are easier to travel with than dogs. I feel like dogs are, you kind of need to be there with them constantly. We can go out and go explore, maybe even be gone for a night, even 2, and come back and, they're in good shape, as long as we set them up for it. And that's, it's actually a lot easier than you think. And most people wonder what's it like to transport them, how that's done. We bought a large truck, so we have a large cabin space, and we're easily able to put them in there comfortably with 2 large hard crates. And it works for everybody. I think one of the biggest things maybe is how long we travel and the times in which we get to where we need to be getting. So for us, we notice that the kitties do best when we get somewhere before 7, which is usually dinner time.
Have you done RV life before?
No, I've never done RV life before. Maybe when I was a kid, I did a little RVing trip with some friends and their parents, and that was the extent of that. Was like a weekend trip, and that was twice in my childhood life. So no, I don't think I've ever really done RV life before. So this was something totally new for us.
Did you plan to go RVing, or was it just a spur of the moment decision?
Oh, we planned it. We're avid YouTube watchers. We love watching YouTube and finding inspiration there. And I think we saw a lifestyle that could give us the life that we wanted. And we just started researching and looking really deep into what it would take to get there. And then finally, our life changed in a way that we could pull the trigger and go after it. So we essentially spent like 2 years researching and thinking about doing this before we pulled the trigger. So not really a spur of the moment, but it was a timing thing, an opportunity thing for sure.
What was the most challenging part before hitting the road?
The most challenging part for hitting the road? Oh my gosh. I mean, I don't know if you plan to rent your house out and you want to renovate before you rent it out and do all of this. That was probably the hardest part, was just getting everything ready in a timeline. Because, when you find renters, it really puts a hard timeline on what you got to do and when you got to have it done by. So, gosh, for 2 weeks, we didn't sleep very much. It was nonstop. And we were even working months before that.
Why did you choose the 5th wheel over any other type of RV?
Why the 5th wheel? Safety is a huge thing for us. And, also being able to detach from our home. And if we needed to have that worked on, we could rent a place and just go there and stay there. We wouldn't be so detrimentally out if we had an A-class. So I think it made more sense, and it was safer to travel that way, especially for the kitties and us. So I think it was pretty clear, and we're getting our feet wet, and spending something large on an A-class that's and then you got to buy a second car to tow behind it. I think we just didn't want to bite that off. We liked this setup. We had researched and watched people do it like this. And that was our source of inspiration. So I think it felt right to do it this way, for sure.
How much or how often do you plan to travel?
Oh gosh, well, we're full-time, and we started off pretty quick. I mean, we were moving and shaking to get to certain places at certain times. So right now we're traveling a lot. Are we always going to be traveling this much, this often? I don't know, probably not. I think we really like immersing ourselves where we're at. So I could see, staying places longer as time goes on. But we do love to travel. So, when you get the itch, you just pack up, pick up, and go.
What's the scariest part of doing this life?
Oh gosh, wondering how my fiance would deal with it, or deal with me rather. And she was really concerned about the kitties, but I believed in the kitties. I just knew that they would do really well. But I think that she would find happiness, and we would both find happiness in this life. And yeah, that was the scariest part. I mean, everything else is all kind of, it can be changed, but you can't, your relationship is a different thing. So that's why, scariest thing.
Did you plan on starting a YouTube channel?
I think it was kind of like one of those things where we had talked about YouTube channels prior to any of this. We would talk about different ideas of how to market certain things that we were going to do in our career lives. And, I think ramping up and doing all this and talking to friends and family made us realize, and they even told us, that you need to share this experience, make these memories for your kids to watch, for family members to watch. And I mean, gosh, we were inspired by YouTube folks. So we want to be the same way. We want to inspire too. So yeah, I think it was eventually just became a no-brainer. And I had already done like audio and music and stuff. So it wasn't too hard for me to shift gears here and try to do something like this.
How long are you planning to travel?
Ooh, is that the last question? That's the last question? All right, so how long are we planning to travel? I am an open book kind of person. I don't want to put a predestination or preset timeline to it. I just want to, take it a trip at a time, place at a time, and see what happens and where we go. So, I guess I don't exactly know, but we're doing it right now. So, lucky you. All right. Well, sweet.